Politricks watch. This is therapy. Now today I'm going to be talking about the conversation or brew right now about whether or not, right, taking out, quote unquote, taking out dons, right, actually increase crime. Taking out matter by police, right, whether in the form of police, take them life or they get arrested and then they're behind bars. We have to talk about it. A resident did an interview, right, with Loop, and the individual was saying that, taking out dons make things worse. Right? The community, right, need a don. We have to have a don at the place, otherwise, the youths them, right, run loose and, at face value, you can see where a resident will be coming from. If I'm living in one place with a don, then the don drop out or the don get extradited or fine, and then them notice right, more 87 start running up and down and them start hear more shit in the place, then the conclusion I'm going to come to is that the don was better for the community. Following up on that, Luke then drop another article where say, right, the title is Dr. Herbert Gill, right, says moving dons from communities increase crime. His argument is essentially that, just removing the don, right, what him see is that you then have 4 or 5 other smaller don who are trying to compete to become the new big don, and then because of that there's a spike in crime. Now, because it's just a small article, right, I don't know if Dr. Herbert Gill is being misquoted or if, because remember, crime is vague. We talk about murders, we talk about crime. Right. I'm going to assume I talk about murders, because when we talk about crime in Jamaica, they normally talk about murders. Right. So at that, right, this video will be about murders. I don't know if they mean crime in general. Right. No. This is what I have to say. If you want a quick answer, does removing a don from a community, right, increase crime? The short answer is yes, that can happen sometimes. It can go either way. In the article, Dr. Herbert Gill mentions that him no communities where don gone and then 5 more. Well, I can counter that easily and say, well, me no communities where don gone and the place get quiet. So that's not really an argument. We're going to just give anecdotal evidence. Me know yes, so me know him, me know this, so right. So we're not going to get very far with that. And as I said, the article is very short, and I imagine Dr. Herbert Gill probably did say more, but he just never get put in the article. So this video is not like we're a counter. Dr. Herbert Gill is just a title and a few lines. Right? We never really see no numbers and no big data analysis and nothing like that. Right? So this is more just to address, because people are saying, right, what do you think about that conversation? And it's a conversation I would need to have. So make we get into it. For every community where you can see a don get take out and then the place cool down, man run where 87s run where the place get quiet, you can find one where things broke out and the place get worse, especially at face value and definitely in the short term. Examples: West Kingston. West Kingston, if you ask somebody from West Kingston, was life more peaceful for them when the previous don was around, let me tell you, yes, things got worse after him left. However, we can also show you St. Catherine North and the places that are known as traditionally, right, clansman areas. If you ask Spanish Town people, right, the place get more peaceful since Tesha and Blackman gone, as in behind bars. Them will tell you yes. Right. So West Kingston people said things get worse. Spanish Town people tell you say things get better. That's why I say sometimes it can go anywhere. It's not a given. And even if it was, let's say it's guaranteed if your police kill a don or him go to jail, there's a spike in crime in a community. What's the alternative? Leave the don? Say, well, because crime are going to spike, because 87s might get more frisky, right? We could just leave the don for going around the place. Is that the alternative? See, that's the question right there, so. When, you see, this is why I really, sometimes I wish journalists would just ask them, when people make certain statements, journalists have to then follow up and say, alright, but then what's the alternative? Leave the don at the place? Make him decide when things flare up and when things cool? Because let's get something straight here, so. It's a myth. It's a downright myth that when time done, especially the big dons, the true 90 octanes are around, right? No crime, no go on, and no. Let me explain something to you, how that work. if Dan A in community 1 have theme 87s them and he make them go out of the community, go shot people in a community B, C, D and E, right? But in a community A, no really shooting no go on, that no mean say that Dan is good for crime. Or that Dan is good for murders. Maybe in community A, but not for the rest of Jamaica. I'm going to show you the numbers. When I hear people from certain communities are complaining say, from the Dan gone a be a crime are gone, what they mean is them finally start feel where them local 87s that make people outside of the community feel. Let me repeat that. See your favorite, whoever, right, now go really have this conversation because it's a tough one to have. When certain people from quote unquote bad man place come out and tell us say, from the Dan gone, the place get hot. Right, and a beer shootings are going and beer killings are going. What they mean is the gunman them who used to go outside of the community, go kill people outside of it, now start killing people inside. Them bubble get bust. The shooters are no longer stepping out a door and out a town and out a port. Now them a shot man pan the lane next door. Now them a shot them neighbors. Ask yourself this question. It's an easy question. And let's use Dodos for example. Since West Kingston was so peaceful, right, and the youth them never that shooting and do them things when Dodos was around, all the whole of the 87s they make them name. How Harry Dog they make them name. How Nuno Push they make them name. What them that shot? Mosquito? Fly? What them that shot? Goat? Cow? How the man them have 30, 40 dopey upon them name. But when Dodos was around, nobody never did. No, nobody never did in a garden. Right. Enough people never did in a garden. Man that did same way. Make a look on crime 6 years before the Tivoli incursion, shall we? Now see that on your screen. We are looking at a 6-year period. We're going to look at the 6 years before the incursion and the 6 years after the incursion. Remember, the big Tivoli incursion occurred in 2010. 2004, 1,471. 2005, 1,674. 2006, 1,340. 2007, 1,584. 2008, 1,619. 2009, 1,683. Those numbers are ridiculous. This is before Garden get invaded. The idea that, when they done them around, right, all of the big Dan them is still about. Your favorite Dan is still around the place. 05 was the year when Bulby was killed. So that year is a standout year because Bulby was a major quote unquote Dan with an actual 90 octane. So the average for the 6 years before the Tivoli incursion was 1,561 murders. Ridiculous, right? Those are insane figures for Jamaica. Then in 2010 we saw an all-out, we're talking about full-scale operation launched not just against Dodos and Tivoli or West Kingston, but remember, security forces them they call in every Dan. They were going after man all over Jamaica. That right there, so that period of time from the incursion and about 5 years after was one of the first time I've ever seen so much Dan, so much 87s dip on the run and a scramble. Man I get called in, man I get locked up, man everybody around go for lawyer. It was a very spooky time for your favorite criminals. No enough people forget about that. But everybody like get called in, man I get wall on. It was very rough. I mean, I know how the KAJ managed right back then. Must have been a very turbulent period for them. So I could look on the years after the incursion. And I could tell them why I'm showing you this. As you can see on your screen, 2011 included in this, but it's on the other page, so I couldn't get it in the screenshot. So 2012, 1102. 2013, 1202. I mean, look at 2014, 1005. We almost go under 1,000. Almost, very close. The average for the 6 years after the incursion was 1,167. That's a major difference. Now, as everybody knows, I never really go to school, right? But according to my unicorn maths, that's a 25% decrease. 25% decrease. That is significant. When Dodos and the Dans them around only claim say when they man run the place, then Jamaica be better off, the numbers don't reflect that. A matter of fact, the 2 years before the incursion, Jamaica had back-to-back 1,600 murder years. Why am I talking about this? At the national level, the idea say, right, Dans, once the Dans them established in a filling place, then That is ridiculous. Now the community level. Earlier I mentioned the fact say, yes, West Kingston, because when Dodos and presidential clique they dominate West Kingston, then certain things never go on in the community. 87s did a go tight go shot people same way. So for the residents in communities where 87s never used to really pressure that community, but used to go outside of the community, go shoot and rob and kill, one thing me have to say, welcome to the club. The 300 machine them where 87s them that lock off in the community, they were not sit down and rust up, them that get used in other parts of Jamaica. Welcome to the club. The data clearly shows that Jamaica have a serious crime problem whether there are dons in place or not. There's hills and valleys. Sometimes plateaus, sometimes it spike, sometimes it go down for one reason or another. Just like the incursion, it was disruptive, but eventually crime go back up. Whether done did it or done did it, gangs, heavily armed gangs, are going to flare up for whatever reason. Sometimes because they done gone, sometimes because they go and dance, one man violate them and the war start. Here is the next question. Let's say police don't kill or lock up a next Dan. What does that ultimately mean for the Dan and the community? I'll tell you. Not much, because guess what? Dan kill Dan. Dan stick sick and dead, carry it down Dan. Man dead same way. If peace is riding on the back of a certain Dan being alive, then that is a fragile peace, a waste of peace, that a fake peace, that because Dan can get killed by other Dan. So even if the police say they will never ever shot a next Dan and never ever lock up a next Dan, what think them enemies are gonna do? You think them enemies are gonna say, well, yeah, me couldn't go for him because we wouldn't want him to die and things to flare up? 87s flare up for any reason. Let the Dan in the place and then extortion racket start. Guess what gonna happen? Crime are gonna spike. You wanna do? Ask the people them at South St. Andrew about Janko Nation. Ask them about bird brain. Police lock up the bird brain? Police arrest bird brain? Oh, South St. Andrews are hot. Bird brain free like a bird. Crime has been spiking consistently in the community. Right? South St. Andrew constantly attack this. What Dans do? If two Dan left in the place, one of them are going to compete with each other. West Kingston was unique because presidential clique control basically the whole. And to be honest, that's a myth. I'm going to go into that in the video too. Right? That was a fragile danship. Dodos danship was fragile. I get into that. But South St. Andrew. You have bird brain here so, you have man over here so. Them a go war. The point is, 87s spike crime for various reasons. Police killing the Dan sometimes spike it, but so does a squabble over extortion racket who for control here so. So does scamming money coming to the place and it not share. So does election money run and the way who for get the money for fix that road they get that amount. The point is, crime has spike. So no. Police just saying, well, because we don't want crime, we don't want murder to increase if we lock up the Dan. No, that is not an option. The Dan have to go. But just taking out the Dan by himself is not going to end crime. Right? Again, it's a very short article from what we see on Loop with Dr. Herbert Gill. I'm sure he may tell you this too. Right? So I don't even think we're in the end we're disagreeing on nothing. I'm sure he may tell you this too. Right? And I think this could be his point. It's a very short article. But just taking out the Dan or just taking out an 87 or a kerosene now go drop crime. If you have 190 octane, 387s, 100 kerosene, 50 cookie cups, right, 2 shady politicians, 2 MP them or 2 counter them, if you just take out the Dan, then that now go be a real crime fighting solution. This is why I say the Klansman trial is the trial of the century. This is the blueprint. Because we are seeing black man, the 90 octane, we are seeing conciliaries them, we are seeing 87 them, pan trial one time. You have to disrupt the network. You have to take out from the 90 to the 87 to the kerosene to the cookie cups. I saw it work. Just taking out an 87, the conveyor belt are going to replace him. Just taking out a Dan, right? A 87 are going to move up to the 90. So there has to be a broad approach if you truly want to see any significant drop in crime. Just taking out a little individual here and an individual there, ultimately, that not good enough because them are going to be easily replaced. This is why when Uncle Sam came with the RICO laws, them scrape up all the man who sell one peanut to the mafia, they get scraped up in the RICO laws. So if a gang is on shaky footing and the leadership structure is not established, right, and from even before the Dan drop, it's clear that him come next, then if the Dan dead, things can spike. But there are many instances where the Dan drop and the next man does smoothly move into him role and there is no crime. People can tell you that. As in no spike in murders. Dan getting killed or locked up no automatically means the war go start. That's for when time the foundation of the gang shaky. Now we could talk about West Kingston again. The idea that Dodos had total and supreme control of West Kingston is largely a myth. There was always some little under the surface beef or bubble in a West Kingston. Enough people in a West Kingston never even accept Dodos as them Dan. This might be news for some of you. Externally, Dodos was the Dan and there was no challenge to that. Internally, enough man will tell you otherwise. West Kingston was built on shaky foundation. That's why as soon as Dodos left, the whole thing crumbled. Which organization you know, whether criminal or legal, crumbles so fast? Presidential click image was largely boosted by its popularity in the culture, in music and everything. Internally, there were all kind of problems. Enough man couldn't wait for left from under the Coke family system. If they were all so loyal to the Cokes, they think that they might go just, oh look, Dodos gone, time for war and kill each other. They might just say, alright, what the next Coke in line, make a work with him. Well, yes, Liberty at the boss now, make a work with him. Man I say, oh, them know you're nothing for no Liberty. Some I say, no, you're nothing for no Coke, right? Enough man I say, no, you're nothing for Tivoli, period. It was always on shaky grounds. The problem is most people wait till them see the pot cover blow off, then them say, right, there's a problem, no. Just like with the PNP now. People are going like say, right, the issues them that the PNP brand new, they were always there bubbling under the surface of the pot cover when I watch now and it blow off. And when I say, well, Peter Bunting versus Peter Phillips and then Mark Gold a long time PNP they on shaky grounds. That's why everything look like it's in a turban now. Well, West Kingston is the bad man version of that. Let me explain something to you. Mentality have a lot to do with this. I'm going to upset some people right now, but I do that daily anyway. We could talk about mentality. The idea that I would rather live under Dan and take talk from a Dan and just hope someone never violate him, someone get boxed down and kicked down, right? Because that better than, let me tell you where that come from. It's a plantation mentality. Everybody knows say, if you really want change, you have to go disrupt, and if you have to disrupt, there's probably going to be chaos, and from chaos you can get order. Europe, what you know now, wasn't always like that. There was a time when Europe was covered with beer wars and conflicts. Nobody never say, you know what, we now go disrupt the Nazi them thing because it will lead to people losing them lives. People accept it, there will be chaos, there will be war, but then 30, 40, 50 years down the road, things will be better, and that's exactly what happened. Jamaican people want change with no suffering, no sacrifice. If you really want change, you have to go through some misery. Get that in your head, a fairy tale now live. That's why when I live under Dan and live under shaky MP, live under crooked MP, live under crooked, because you say, well, at least you just lock him out, dog. Nobody say nothing man you because boy, I saw it go. That's the Jamaican attitude. Plantation thing then. Throughout history, when people really want to change them community, change them nation, them accept it, them have to go probably, right, go through some kind of risk. There's going to be a spike in crime, a spike in violence, right? But then 50, 100 years down the road, the pitting them can better. Jamaicans don't think like that. People think about themselves and them think about now. And me want alright now. Right? When I go disrupt, right, Jamaica crime situation, when I go disrupt 87, 90, 116 politician because more alright now. Forget about the pitting them 50 years from now. On the plantation, there were always arguments. It is a fact that many people agreed it is better if you just work on the backroad system, even though yeah, from time to time you might get lashings there and some beatings there. But what's the alternative? We're going to flare up and then we're going to fight backroad and people are going dead. We rather get a couple beaten or dead. Better we just work with it, bro. Right? It's better, bro, we better up on the plantation. We're not going to run around and go start no war and if we're living in a bush and living in a cave. Bro, look man, they go at least we know say food certainly also. And there are people who are saying, we understand that there's a very strong possibility people are going dead. And some of us who take part in this rebellion, right, are going to probably end up with some rope, right, hang up on a tree. But 50, 100 years from now, society are going to be a changed place, and the people who live then can benefit from what we are going to know. That mindset, right, that division still exists today. Even though a Don is somebody, right, who can send for a grown man, a Don can send for a full grown man and box him up in his face, spit on him, kick him down, and send him go back to him yard. Right. People say, you know what, me work with that. Because at least, right, me I get my little treat, and once every now and then we get put on a little party, and you know, all me have to do is don't do this and me not go dead. And the people were saying, you know what, even if it means say, we might dead, we still not live like this. And even though we might not see the benefit now, maybe the pit them can come to a different Jamaica. The division exists today. People now fight out them dance, them now vote out them crooked politics, them a work with the status quo. Them a work with them see because it is a safer option in the short term. In the short term, just work with it and you're alright. Only in the medium to long term. You go see say, well, I'm about Jamaican art. That's like people always, Jamaican art change, Jamaican art. How if it change? How will it change? This is the mindset. Just work with what you see. Live under Dan. Keep voting for the same incompetent crooked politician. End of the day, once a blue moon, we get something from him, right? And he put on one treat, and then this and that, and everything alright. Safety in the short term, it's what separates some nations from others. There's a reason why when you look at some countries, you see they go to civil war. Some countries go to civil war. If you end up then go and go build the nations where we see today. Pain and suffering before you get to peace and stability. But Jamaicans want to live in a mansion, but them don't want to dig up the dirt part. Them don't. Have you ever seen our house build? Tractor come in, dig up this, then bust pipe, you hear beer nice, beer nice every day, and then at the end of it, we get a nice pretty house. But Jamaicans want the house without that dig up and mash up party. They don't want to clear the land, they don't want to live with the land, they don't want to bring in the backhoe for mash up the rocks. Right, no, them just want to get to the nice house part. No sacrifice, no misery, no suffering. Right? They don't want to change their life, they don't want to dip on the run, they don't want. Jamaicans are fake rebels for the most part. They may live under Dan, they may live under tyranny, as long as it's safe in the short term. It's about me, not my children and my children's children. 87s flare up all the time, whether because the Dan dead, or the Dan gone to jail, or because my war of extortion, or my war of scamming, or man take a man girl and man box girl and man go retaliate, it no matter. The point is, from 87s around, heavily armed, and 90s around, and 116s around, and them whole heap of guns that them can do them on do. From time to time, crime will go spike. Until you disrupt the gangs, bring down the gangs, strip them of them weapons and them connection, then you're at their mercy. You didn't hope say them not get mad. You didn't hope say them not rise them gun them. If you ever done sitting over 387s, heavily armed, but them just not shoot nobody, no. Or them not shoot nobody in Fidem community, where I shoot people down at Rima, right, and people in Jonestown, and people at Max. The numbers don't lie. 1,600 murders back to back. Right. Whether Dan's in place or not. Hills and valleys, Jamaica was a serious crime problem. And leaving the Dan in a place because in the short term it better be things. I don't know. Then again, let me end the video by saying this. As I say, it was a very short article and it was really responding to a residency. Remember, I am not a lecturer at the University of the Woke Indies. I'm not a doctor of anything. Right? I'm just a little YouTuber trying to fight against some artists, right, and some scammers to get some views, because views is life. Anyway, Patreon's gonna big up on himself. Yeah, you don't know. No life. Ultra Squad. Stay circling. Bless.